I tell you what, I love these biscuits. And I'm not sponsored by them, please make that clear. I just happen to shop in there. Aldi. I absolutely love these. They're near the cream crackers, that sort of area. Anyway, that's not why I'm here. Right, let's get rid of that. I'm here for this. This is a plug-in fan heater. I plugs into a 13 amp socket. And the reason I'm showing you it is, well, it's an energy saving device, I would suggest, because normally fan heaters use anything between a kilowatt on low setting and 3 kilowatts when they're cranked up, don't they? Something like that. But not this. This uses, and you can freeze frame this if you like so you can read it for yourself. Notice the first line, 500 watt. And because it's made by Blaupunkt, I have no reason to doubt that this meets UK or European electrical standards, which cannot be said of many of the things that come from the Far East. So there's every chance that this is made in the Far East under licence. I don't know. I'd have to ring up Blaupunkt and ask them, and I'm sure they wouldn't tell me. But I'm grateful to my friends Marcus Smith and Tracy G. And if I hadn't gone to visit them this morning and help sort my car out, so look at that black oil, that'll take a while to get out, I would not have known about this. You can get these in B&M stores. I don't know if others do it, but at 15 quid, and it comes with a full instruction manual. It's got a timer on it, and it's using half the power of 1 bar on an electric fire. Pretty good. And even in the winter, my solar batteries are generally charged up in the evening, so this would happily run this little heater for, I don't know, 30 minutes if you needed that, probably 20 minutes. And this will heat up a room. It's suggests it'll heat a room up to 10 square metres, which is more than enough, isn't it, really? It would take the edge off it in the morning. So if you've got to go to work and, you know, you could just heat up the room enough to sit down, drink your tea, have your breakfast, and off you go. And warm up a room very quickly. Because even if you put your central heating on, you know what they're like. They tick, 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 don't they, and creak as the hot water goes through. And it takes an age, actually, for any of it to come through, during which time you can still consume quite a bit of gas. So to heat a room up very quickly, great. Great for OAPs as well, I would have thought. You know, unless they've got Alzheimer's or something. There may be some safety issues with it. But for most people, I think this is a good, viable alternative. So if you want one, B&M's do them at £15 each. I don't think you can beat that. Welcome to Ralph's house.
Welcome to Ralph's house.
I haven't shown you my hallway for quite a while, and there's a lot of reasons why. Principally because I wanted to make sure that I've got all the right sockets. Bear in mind, see this light switch here? It's got 3 switches on it. I wasn't sure if I'd need 3, but thinking about it, yeah, outside light, hall light, and maybe another light, maybe another side light. Anyway, so to put those light switches in, I've got to chase up the wall. You know what I mean? I had to do all of that. Put the plastic conduit in, plaster it over, get it smooth, and I put another socket. You can't see it's behind the step ladder. Incidentally, all sockets these days aren't at the skirting board level. It's all about accessibility, isn't it? You know, if you're in a wheelchair, so you can reach them, or if you're older. I mean, I'm not exactly young, am I? But I just wanted to show you this door because I've been using this stuff from Screwfix. That's not easy to say, is it, when your teeth are in the wrong place? No, I've been using this stuff from Screwfix called No Nonsense Quick Dry Satin Paint. And I bought some other paint from B&Q, which was also supposed to be a satin, bloody awful paint. It wouldn't even stick, you know, it just flaked off. That's even with sanding it. But this stuff's amazing. But let me show you something. Now this section I did with a paintbrush, you know, around the surround. But look at this door panel. It doesn't even look like it's painted, does it? It looks like it's been coated in plastic. And it is the smoothest finish I've ever seen with that paint. Now, you know why? Let me show you. Because I used a fluffy roller. And it sort of goes on like Artex. And it takes about an hour before it really starts to skin over. But gives it, what a fantastic finish. And I've even used it on the picture rail, which was very common in 1930s houses. But to be honest, left to my own devices, I have got an eye for decor, and I have been accused of, you know, trying to live in the past. I'm certainly not doing that. That's the last thing on my mind. What I'm trying to do is not cover over this Art Deco doorway, because actually in this street, most of them, apart from my immediate neighbours, have had these taken out and put modern ones in. You know, I don't get it. When you've got something as absolutely stunning as that, even when my father lived here, I used to say, gosh, I love this front door. Everybody says it. The lady who came round, hello by the way, to sell me the double glazing, she liked it as well. But here's the thing, you see you've got that green, you've got that orangey colour, you've got some blue, there's also a deep red here in those ones. But then when you look at the wall lights, it ties it in, doesn't it? Now that machine there, which dates from the 1940s, 1950s, it's an Allwinds, you know, put your 2p in and the ball goes around. Everybody plays with it when they come in, and I normally keep a stack of 2p's on there because it's just too much of a temptation for people. But even that ties in because of the green, and I've put it there because when my father lived here, he had it there as well. So it's a very subtle nod to him as well as, and you'd barely notice it, but you see there, that is a thermometer. My dad stuck that there, and when my sister came round, she said, oh, that's rather nice, you've left the thermometer where it was. And I said, well, he's put it in the most logical place, and it's kind of a nod to him. Now, my father was a pianist, and I have to say, rather good, and I'll never hear him play again. But and it was hard. You know, when somebody dies and you've got to clear the house, it's hard. I tell you, it is, because the person's died, and then, you know, unless you're completely ruthless, and you're throwing away their stuff, and you're thinking, this was their life, and it's just all going in a skip. But unfortunately, that's one of those decisions that you have to make. Now, because my father was a pianist, I sold off his sheet music for pennies. It was nothing really, because nobody wants it. The guy who bought it all said it would probably take him 50 years to sell it. But I kept some purely for the covers. Now, I know he liked Billy Mayle, and which will mean nothing to most of you, but look him up. Billy Mayle, Marigold. I think it's M-A-Y-A-L, I think. But he liked Billy Mayle, and so some of the sheet music that he had, I've kept in a pile, and I'm going to frame those and put them somewhere, not in the hallway, maybe one or two. And so really, there is a bit of nod to me dad, but I've done to this hallway what should have been done a very long time ago, because even when my sister lived here before him, you know, it badly needed work. I mean, it really did. But finally I've got to do it. But like I say, the reason it's taking this long is chasing cables in, because, you know, if you chase one in there, you've got to go up there, you've got to go behind the picture rail, feed the cable up and all the way up there. And bear in mind, there were 3 cables there, I didn't exactly know where the socket was going to go. Now I've done that, that's on the wall. So this wall is now ready to line and paint. And even my son said when he came down here, he said, "Yeah, Dad, it's looking really good down here." I said, yeah. Of course, I paint during the day, and you know, for a big hotel chain, when you paint, it's got to be neat. Do you know what I mean? If you paint a bathroom, a guest bathroom, the wall opposite has got to be flawless, because they're going to be sat there staring on it, aren't they? And that's the way I kind of think on painting. So that, you know, if you do have to paint walls, around light switches, you want at least 4 coats, because they're going to get dirty and you need to be able to wipe them clean. So 4 coats, you're not going to go through the paint. On the whole, I do at least 3 coats up to shoulder level. Above that, 2 coats. You know, the contact areas, that's the way you've got to think in paint. But what a stunning front door. Just a quickie, this is my inverter. It's 5 past midnight and there's practically no draw on it, on the inverter. 225 volts at 50 hertz. Negligible power being consumed. Battery sitting at 12.7. Some went down a long time ago. But here's the best bit. Out in the back garden, I've got my pond pump running, and it's a good pond pump, but you know, it shifts a fair bit of water. It's not a little thing. Along with a UV light that I run to keep down the algae. As we get into winter, I then disconnect that and change the bulb, because you have to change them manually. They only last about a year. And I've also got out there 2 CCTV cameras. But on top of that, I am also running my fridge and my large chest freezer. Well, there you go. I'm confident that that'll be fine till the morning, at which point the sun comes up and starts charging the batteries again. If you watch the last one, you'll know that I've got 3 leisure batteries on this. I could run 5, I guess, but then this is the thing, you've got to find a balance, because although the batteries last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, or at least at full efficiency, if you keep buying too many batteries, it adds to your costs. But having said that, it's still under £1,000. Ah, back at the bench. Yeah, if you watched the last Ralph's House, you know that I was contemplating converting as many of my lights in the house as I can over to 12 volt, because that way I can run them off the solar battery bank in the evenings. But to make the best of them, they really only need to be on when anybody's in the vicinity, in areas like the hallway and the stairs. And stairs lights notoriously get left on, don't they? So I thought, right, passive infrared sensors is the way to go. So, you know, they'll come on when you're within about 2 to 3 metres of the sensor, and stay on for a defined period of time. Not sure what it is with these. Anyway, we'll find that out. And also, of course, during the day, you don't generally need the lights on. Depends how dark your house is, I suppose. So I may need a timer, so that the whole 12 volt lighting circuit only comes on, you know, towards the evening. I could just simply do that on a 12-hour cycle. It's not critical, and I don't think I really need to sense whether it's light or dark particularly. Just do it over 12 hours. Might just have to adjust it, you know, for winter, for summer. Anyway, there were 2 ways I can do this. This is a 12 volt T10 bulb holder with an LED bulb in it. These things are used, well, I suppose you could use them in motorhomes, boats, that sort of thing, but I think primarily they're designed for kit cars, or, you know, replacing existing bulb fittings. But these are just simply a push fit with the connectors each side, and I've got a range of those so I can test them out. So that's one way I could do it, directly 12 volt. The other way I could do it is using one of these. What's the name of these? I think it's something like HW348 or something like that. Yeah, 384. Right, these are, well, it's a well-used phrase, isn't it? Cheap as chips. The Chinese don't make chips. It's surprising, isn't it? Yeah, they buy them in or from other countries. So what that does say, 12 volt down to 5 volt. So I can plug in things like, I do like these because these are incredibly bright. The camera's having to compensate and shut down there. But I'm very tempted to use these as the wall light bulbs because I've got plenty of them. And if I have a problem with them, no problem, just unplug from USB, plug it back in again. And also, not that you'd want to, you could technically charge your phone off your wall light. Yeah, so that's what that does, 12 volt to USB. And I've also got these mini passive infrared sensors. Now I've yet to find out whether I'll need additional circuitry for that. But if I do, I'm not short of resistors and common types of transistors. So, you know, if I have to do that, I have to do that. But we will see. But one thing I will need is a fuse box. I need to protect all these little circuits so, you know, I don't burn out wires because something's shorted somewhere or whatever. And it comes with a bag of fuses, but, you know, these are going to be up to about 25 amps, some of these probably. I only want the 1 amp ones. If that, you know, as low a fuse as I can get to protect each little circuit. These are designed for boats and I guess DIY motorhomes, camper vans, that kind of stuff. Or again, if you were making a kit car, you'd need a fuse box. About 11 quid, you know, pretty good, aren't they? Positive one side, negative the other. And I'm not so sure about these LEDs down the middle, just to show that circuits are live. I'm trying to avoid extra consumption, you know, keep the whole thing economical. So it may mean that I have to get in here and actually disconnect the LEDs so they don't come on. So, yeah, these are kind of issues you have to think about. For instance, this 12 volt to 5 volt converter, it says it's something like 97% efficient, but the point is, if you haven't got a bulb in it, it will still be consuming something, which is why, you know, you need the light switches so you can actually physically turn them off. You've got to think about all those sort of things. The fuse box, incidentally, came with these labels. One's obviously for a, what was it the Americans call it, an RV, you know, a motorhome, something like that. Yeah, that's automotive, isn't it? And the other one is clearly for boats. I don't think I'm going to be having a bilge pump. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll get some, I'll print my own, that's what I'll do. I'll work out the grid reference, put it through my printer and print some labels, so at least I know what's what on the fuse box. When it comes to the light and the passive infrared sensor, let's get those out of the way. The bottom of the light, this isn't actually glass, it's made of a kind of phenolic plastic, but the passive infrared sensor fits in there rather well. It just needs reaming out just slightly so that collar just fits in there snug. There was a brass fitting in there, a sort of, I don't know, what do you call it, a finial. Not dissimilar to the dome of this really, but you don't really see it. But I think with that on the bottom, it should detect anybody within a 2 to 3 metre range, which is good enough. Good enough. Right. Anything else that I can think of? No, I think that's it. We will see how it goes. Hopefully I can get one of the light fittings connected up, and if I need additional circuitry it will become obvious. Sometimes passive infrared sensors give false triggers, you know, they'll go off and you think, why, there was nobody there. So I may need some additional smoothing to iron that out. But other than that, that's it.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.